This is from the book of Enoch, chapter 15, starting at verse 2 to verse 4 and also verse 7. This refers to the watchers. This is related to Genesis 6, where it talks about the sons of God going into the daughters of men and having children. Those sons of God are what are referred to in the book of Enoch as the watchers. And go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them, ye should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh, and as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also who die and perish. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you, for as the spiritual ones of the heaven in heaven is their dwelling. The book of Enoch was composed prior to these New Testament writings, but it shows up in a couple of different places, unsurprisingly. It seems that almost in an authoritative manner. This is from the Epistle of Jude, verse 6. And the angels who did not keep their own position, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains in deepest darkness for the judgment of the great day. That sounds pretty similar to the part from chapter 15. And Jude 14 also explicitly mentions a quotation from the book of Enoch. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4, 2 Peter uses the book of Jude, has the same idea about the angels. For if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into Tartarus, and committed them to chains of deepest darkness to be kept until the judgment. And where it says chains of deepest darkness, some manuscripts also read pits of deepest darkness, which also fits the descriptions of Tartarus in the book of Enoch. Now, to move on to an ancient explanation of why an eternal place of punishment would exist. This is from the book of 2nd Esdras, which was probably composed around the beginning of the 2nd century. And it's a Jewish document. It's not a Christian document. But you can still see how there's a confluence of ideas going on here. This is from 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, verses 32 through 38. The earth shall give up those who are asleep in it, and the dust those who rest there in silence. And the chambers shall give up the souls that have been committed to them. This showing the belief at the time that people who had died, their souls were kept in chambers until the time of judgment, till the time of resurrection. The Most High shall be revealed on the seat of judgment, and only compassion shall pass away, and patience shall be withdrawn. Only judgment shall remain, truth shall stand, and faithfulness shall grow strong. Recompense shall follow, and the reward shall be manifested. Righteous deeds shall awake, and unrighteous deeds shall not sleep. The pit of torment shall appear, and opposite shall be the place of rest. And the furnace of hell, some manuscripts say Gehenna, shall be disclosed, and opposite it the paradise of delight. Then the Most High will say to the nations that have been raised from the dead, Look now and understand whom you have denied, whom you have not served, whose commandments you have despised. Look on this side and on that. Here are delight and rest, and there are fire and torments. Thus he will speak to them on the day of judgment. This actually corresponds to ideas, Greek ideas, which Superfly mentioned in his video, that Tartarus and Elysium, the Elysian fields, are located in different segments of Hades. At least to me, this selection from chapter 7 of 2nd Esdras seems to be an expansion of an idea that's just hinted to in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 2. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Now, about the justification for the existence of eternal punishment, rather than the rabbinic Jewish idea of essentially purgatory and people eventually being purified and being allowed to enter heaven. This is also from 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verses 1 through 6, and verses 14 through 22. He answered me and said, also he is referring to the angel Uriel. He begins dialogues with Ezra in chapter 4 of 2nd Esdras. This is the same Uriel who's mentioned as the guardian of Tartarus in the book of Enoch. He answered me and said, measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that some of the predicted signs have occurred, then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world that he has made. So, when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were of old, from the beginning. For just as with everything that has occurred in the world, the beginning is evident, and the end manifest, so also are the times of the Most High. The beginnings are manifest in wonders and in mighty works, and the end in penalties and signs. Sound familiar? In 2nd Esdras, there's several dialogues between Ezra and the angel Uriel regarding why the majority of the people who have been created are going to end up in torment. And this is the very last of those dialogues, and it's pretty much just restating what's already been said. So that's why I'm including this one for brevity, and I think that it gets the point across. So this is from chapter 9, verses 14 through 22. I answered and said, I said before, and I say now, and will say it again. There are more who perish than those who will be saved, as a wave is greater than a drop of water. He answered me and said, as is the field, so is the seed, and as are the flowers, so are the colors, and as is the work, so is the product, and as is the farmer, so is the threshing floor. For there was a time in this age when I was preparing for those who now exist, before the world was made for them to live in, and no one opposed me then, for no one existed. But now those who have been created in this world, which is supplied both with an unfailing table and an inexhaustible pasture, have become corrupt in their ways. So I considered my world, and saw that it was lost. I saw that my earth was in peril because of the devices of those who had come into it. And I saw and spared some with great difficulty, and saved for myself one grape out of a cluster, and one plant out of a great forest. So let the multitude perish that has been born in vain, but let my grape and my plant be saved, because with much labor I have perfected them. So the big explanation in this chapter is really that it was too hard. That the people who have been saved already, it's been done so through great difficulty. And it's better to just forget about all those people who are going to be suffering forever. So really, the answer given for why people need to be punished forever rather than temporarily is just because.